Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Addict Monthly. This is where we look at what comics I've read in the past month. That month now being April 2025. So for the month of April, I read 166 comics. 104 of those were Marvel, 55 of those were DC, and all the other publishers equaled 7. So let's look at those other publishers first. Let's take a look at the little guy first. So, first up from Malibu, I read Exiles 4. I believe finally finishing that miniseries. From Image, G.I. Joe Real American Hero 314. Transformers 18. Hyde Street 4. Geiger 12. It's one of my favorite series from the Ghost Machine comics that Jeff Johns is doing. Hyde Street's pretty good too, but Geiger, part of it's got to be the Gary Frank artwork, but I just love the post-apocalyptic weirdness. And I got to say, I love the fact that in his books he does little uh, character profiles like Marvel Universe style, Who's Who style. Love that. Then in the G.I. Joe Real American Hero universe, they're doing these silent missions one shots. So I read the ones for Jinx and Beachhead. Although when I say I've read them, I've looked at all of the images. Let's go to DC next. I read Absolute Batman number 5. Still enjoying Absolute Batman. Still enjoying the Absolute books in general. Read Titans 19 and 20. Got caught up on Batman Superman World's Finest. Here's issue 34. 35. 36. Nice to see the Floronic Man again. I remember him from way back in the 80s. And Swamp Thing and I think Millennium. Anyway. I was in the mood to read some older Superman, and this was one of the Crisis crossovers that I never read. It's around the time Supergirl's death. So I read Superman 414. It was a pretty good read actually. I read Two-Face number 3, 4, and 5. Still enjoying that series. Absolute Flash number 2. Quick read, but good stuff. Speaking of Flash, I read some more back issues by Josh Williamson. Here we have Flash 61, 62, and 63. And I like that cover quite a bit. I read some more of the Detective Comics issues by Mariko Tamaki, whose work I've enjoyed, especially on Detective Comics. So I read 1038, 1039, 1040, 1041, 1042, and I read the current issues by Tom Taylor, and they're great. They're great as well. Here's 1093 and 1094. Batman. Final issue of Chip Zdarsky's run. Read 157. Thought Chip had a really good run on the book. There were some aspects that I weren't quite into, but overall, fantastically done. So, his last issue there, and then, of course, the Hush 2, issue 158. Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair. This first part didn't really wow me, but I'm going to keep going, of course. But I read that. I read Catwoman 73. Absolute Superman 4. And 5. Another excellent Absolute series. Got caught up with Black Lightning. Read issue 3, 4, and 5. Metamorpho, the Element Man 3 and 4. This series is just a lot of fun. If you're not reading it, Al Ewing's doing a really fun job on this series. There's some imaginative stuff in here that's just really, really cool. Absolute Wonder Woman 4 and 5. This one has kind of been hitting a slow patch for me, but I'm still reading it, still getting it. But read those. I was in the mood to read some old Teen Titans, so I grabbed the oldest issue I had that I haven't read yet. It's issue 13. This one was a riff on A Christmas Carol, strangely enough. I think Bob Haney was involved, so it was really weird. But read that. Read the first issue of Absolute Green Lantern, and it was absolutely awesome. Really excited to keep going with this. Another Al Ewing book. So, good stuff here. If you're on the fence, I say give it a go. Batman and Robin 18 and 19. Let's see. Philip Kennedy Johnson doing a great job on this series. JSA 4 and 5. I'm a sucker for Golden Age characters, so I will buy JSA every time. So, enjoying that. Jeff Lemire, I believe, writing that one. Yep. Aquaman. I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue with this past issue 1. Glad I did, because I read issue 2 and 3 and loved them. And this cover is just amazing. Question, All Along the Watchtower #4. Good stuff. Green Lantern 19 and 20. Enjoying that one. Birds of Prey 19. Power Girl 18. Got caught up with Batman Dark Patterns. Here's issue 2. 3. And 4. Really good stuff. Dan Waters really killing it with this, and I think he's doing Nightwing as well. Both are really good. Speaking of really good, Green Arrow. I believe it's Chris Condon. There's 21, 22. Justice League The Atom Project. Read issue 2, and I picked this cover in particular because I thought it was really awesome. You have the original Atom, the newer Atom, and then Captain Atom. Really nice image there. One of the few times I get the non-standard cover, but as I've said before, I'm always happy that DC puts the cover A underneath their cardstock variants, so you don't miss out necessarily. But yeah, love that cover. And also read issue 3. Finished up Mark Waid's Weekly Action Comics. Here's 1080 and 1081. And that's all the DC. Moving to Marvel. The issue that I missed last time around, Scarlet Witch #9. Somehow I'd missed this issue and read 8 and then 10 and somehow missed it, but here it is, Scarlet Witch 9. I was trying to get caught up on Miles Morales Spider-Man, and I got a certain distance. I just have to say, Cody Ziegler is just not one of my favorite writers. Perfectly competent, just it's not not usually a reading experience where I'm eager to keep going. It's just kind of there. But oh well. I read 18, Legacy 300, 19, 301, 20, 302, 302. It is misprinted on there as 301. Then they get back on track with 21, 303, one of the Blood Hunt crossovers, or tie-ins, as well as 22, 304, 23, 305, 24, 306, against the Vulture, and the Vulture's granddaughter is one of the other characters in here. 25, Legacy 307. You have Black Panther guest starring. Then I wanted to read I was in the mood to read an old Jack Kirby Captain America issue. So I pulled the next one in line there to read, and I read number 209 back when the book was shared with the Falcon. Read that Jack Kirby issue. One of the early issues with Arnim Zola. And this Primus character who comes back. No, Doughboy. I remember Doughboy came back in an issue of Captain America where I first read him. So it was interesting to see Doughboy in here. Laura Kinney, Wolverine 4, Legacy 72, Winter Soldier, and 5 or 73. X-Men 14, Legacy 314. Jed MacKay doing a good job. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu 7 or 747. Still one of my favorite reads every month. I mean, Jed MacKay does a great job, but the art team they pick is always consistent. Even if it's a different artist, it has a similar style, and I like the style. So, anyway. Daredevil. It's in the mood to read after watching or finishing the first season of Daredevil Born Again, which was excellent, and then also trying to work my way through more of the old Netflix series that I haven't finished. Wanted to read some old Daredevil. I read issue 186 here. And then current issue 20 or 682. So cool to see that costume back, even if it's for a short time. Yep. Amazing Spider-Man. Finishing out the last volume, The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man storyline. We have issue 69 or 963. 70, 964. Then the brand new number 1 or 965. And 2 or 966. So excited that we're so close to issue 1000 with this. And considering this comes out at least, 2 times a month, we're going to get there pretty fast. So that's exciting to see Amazing Spider-Man 1000. Can't wait. Incredible Hulk, issue 24, Legacy 805. Phoenix, 10. Deadpool Team Up 5, finishing out that miniseries. Again, fun to see some old characters like Chris Star and Dragon Lord mixing it up in here. Wolverine Deep Cut 2. Ultimate Black Panther 13 and 14. I've bought a lot of back issues of Wolverine lately, and this one being one of the Nuff Said silent issues. I read this one, issue 171. And then the current issue is 7 or 399. Read New Champions 2 and 3. Then finally, I finally tackled this new volume of Iron Man. It looked a little daunting, but once I got into it, it was actually pretty good. So here's issue 1 or 671. 2, 672. 3, 673. 4, 674. 5, 675 with Ironheart in there as well. And 6 or 676, a One World Under Doom tie-in. Got caught up with Ultimate Spider-Man, issue 13. Really interesting issue there with issue 14. Spider-Man and Harry Osborn in, I forget what they are, where they are, but they're out trying to survive. You got Craven after them. And issue 15. Great book. Great book. These next two are from a miniseries from the 80s that I thought I had already finished. In truth, I'd only read the first 2 of the 4 issues. So I fixed that. This is one of those smaller characters that I will always buy a comic if I see they're in it. Because I read that first issue when I was a kid. I read issue 2 sometime later. And then here we have Jack of Hearts 3. I'm a fan of this character. His most recent appearances have been in She-Hulk, this recent She-Hulk series. I read that. And then here's issue 4 of that miniseries. And the art in these is by George Freeman, who my brain tells me did Captain Canuck. And I really rather like his artwork. I don't know what else he might have done beyond those things, but enjoyed these. I think Bill Mantlo wrote those, and he sure knows how to write, outer space characters. I've read his entire series of Rom, the Space Knight, and that was such a fun time when I read that years and years ago. Some Iron Fist. I read Immortal Iron Fist number 6. And the Ed Brisson Iron Fist number 3. I read One World Under Doom number 2. And as a tie-in, we have Doom Academy 1 and Doom Academy 2, which is, Strange Academy under Doom's rule. And I found it so interesting how the characters in here were so easily switched over to being in Doom Academy. Seemed a little odd, but otherwise, decent book. Uncanny Inhumans Volume 3 Trade, which collects Uncanny Inhumans 11 through 14 and annual number 1. This is a $3.99 Ollie's special. And I have most of these issues, but I bought them after I bought this. Because even though I have a trade, that does not mean I'm not going to get the issues. Because to me, this is just a reprint. This is a collection, so I want the issues. But I read this, and let's see, who was the writer on this? Charles Soule? Yeah. Carlos Pacheco doing some of the art. But good stuff, actually. This was a pretty good series. I read issues 1 through 10, and here's 11 through 14 plus the annual. There are a few more issues after this that I have to read, but good series. Underrated, I'd say. I was in a Golden Age mood. I read quite a bit of Golden Age Marvel this month. A lot of it in Masterworks volumes that I haven't finished. But I read some stories to finish up these issues, the stories that I don't have elsewhere in these issues, because these are all reprint issues. But Fantasy Masterpieces number 7, which which besides some classic Marvel short stories, including Marvel Monsters stories, has Golden Age superhero stuff. You can see there Cap, Namor, Torch. And I also finished what I needed to read in issue 9. Some more Golden Age fun. And some more Marvel monsters and ghosts and things, but fun stuff. I love Golden Age comics. I love seeing where these characters came from. Their early exploits. I read Red Hulk number 2. Pretty good book. Benjamin Percy. West Coast Avengers number 6. Still enjoying that book. Of course, if it's a West Coast Avengers, I'm going to buy it. That was a team I grew up reading. Exceptional X-Men 7, part of the X-Manhunt crossover. This was one of the Collateral Damage tie-ins, actually the only Collateral Damage tie-in. Speaking of X-Manhunt, I read X-Force 9, or 299, and the X-Manhunt Omega number 1. So if you're interested in where Charles Xavier is going these days, this is what you want to check out. Some more Doom stuff. I read Thunderbolts Doomstrike number 1 and 2. Doom's Division number 1, which is Tiger Division, but under the rule of Doom. Thor. I went back and read an older issue, some Jack Kirby, issue 167. Love the look of these old comics. Just love it. And the current Immortal Thor, 22 or 783. Still an enjoyable Al Ewing book. I got started on Ultimate Wolverine, so I read 1, 2, and 3. It's a really good book. It's a Chris Condon written book. The time jumps get a little bit momentarily confusing, but overall it's a good book, and I'd recommend checking it out if it looks at all interesting to you. I read Infinity Watch 2 and 3, and each issue has one of these Marvel Handbook variant covers. I do have the variant covers to 1 and 2, in addition to copies with the regular cover. But from here on, I'm only getting the Handbook variant covers. So there's number 3. And that's only because I didn't realize they were doing Handbook variant covers until I saw one. And so then I had to go back and get the first 2. Doctor Strange of Asgard number 2. Fun book. Doctor Strange trying to figure things out and solve a murder in Asgard. And Loki's in there too. All New Venom 3, 242, 4, 243, and 5, 244, where the new Venom's identity is revealed. It was spoiled before I got this book. And I'm not someone who worries about spoilers, but I was really trying to avoid in this case. But People just can't help posting things. I open something up and there it is. I can't avoid it. But anyway, so very interesting. I won't spoil it for you in case you haven't read it yet, or in case you have been able to avoid social media. I was in the mood to read some old Marvel UK from the '90s stuff. So I read Kill Power: The Early Years, #1. Finished out the Avengers Assemble miniseries, #5 here. Honestly, I wish this was an ongoing, but oh well. You know what I do wish would happen is I know they've done this in very small amounts, but all of the Marvel Unlimited exclusive comics, I want them to print them, even if it's later. I mean, even if it's a year later, just please print them because I'm not gonna read them on the app. Um, I'm weird. I talked about this on the podcast. I will read a comic digitally while I'm on the go, as long as I own the physical copy. It's my way of reading my actual comic when I can't have it with me. But I'm not going to read a comic I don't own. And if I can't own the digital comic, I'm not going to read it. That's how my brain works. It's how I look at things. It's how I see things. I want to own the comic. I haven't, there's no comic out there that I've read that I don't own. If I don't own the original, I at least own a reprint, especially for the older stuff. Um, it's just how I roll. Whatever. X-Men Xavier's Secret, #1. This is pretty crucial. It does come out in the X-Manhunt crossover, but if you really want to see it and understand it clearly, this is crucial to the ending of the whole Krakoa thing and in relation to Charles Xavier. This clarifies the events that seemed so terrible that he did and makes them not so terrible. So, if you're looking to redeem your opinion of Charles Xavier, read this. I read Helverine 3, 4, and 5. Cable Love and Chrome 2 and 3, and I really like this cover. It's just striking. The color and the detail and all the electricity. Really enjoy that. Let's see. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider 10 or 70. That's a pretty cool cover there too. 11 or 71. And 12 or 72. Eddie Brock Carnage, #2. This continues to be a good series, written by Charles Soule. Again, I was really into some Golden Age stuff, so I dug these out of my unread boxes. These are a combination of a new story plus reprint or two. We have Marvel Mystery Comics #1. And USA Comics #1. So those both had a new story with a Golden Age character and a reprint or two. I read Poluminati #1. Deadpool madness right there. But Todd Knock doing really nice detailed artwork in there. I read Magic #3, and I bought this variant cover on purpose because look at that. That's astounding. Not sure what it is about those huge swords that's so popular in fiction these days. I mean, heck, Iron Man has one right now. But anyway, Magic #3 variant cover. I went back and read a couple issues. The last couple issues I needed to complete reading this series, the Sam. Yeah, what's his last name? Sam something Nova. Here's issue 23 and 30. Read Storm 7 or 18. Speaking of Charles Soule doing something good, Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. This is like an alternate future tale, and it is excellent. Highly recommend this. It's only a 3-issue mini, so you don't have to invest too much. Although the first issue is $7 if you buy it off the racks. But it is really good. It has art by Steve McNiven, and it's excellent. Concert of Champions 1. Not my favorite thing in the world, especially because we have more of the well, at least one more of Dazzler's songs with song lyrics that are so atrocious in here. But oh well, whatever. It's only a one shot, I think. Psylocke 5 and 6. TVA 4. Deadpool and Wolverine, the comic book. Number 1, 2, and 3. And I really enjoyed this. Another Ben Percy book. Really enjoying this series. So I watched The Thunderbolts, and it is fantastic. Wonderful. Wonderful movie. Great Marvel movie. Made me love these characters. It made me want a comic book of those characters as Thunderbolts. I want those characters in a comic as Thunderbolts. I know the situation with the comic book version of Red Guardian is a little different, not quite the same family dynamic, but you can still put him in there. And I know there's other differences. I know Ghost is not that person in the comics. Whatever. Just, make it as close as you can. And give me that comic book. I really, really want that. I know they have a new Thunderbolts comic coming out soon, but it's not exactly that team. Yeah, so, whatever. But the movie was great. And in preparation for the movie, I read the back issues of Sentry I had in my collection that I had not read. And strangely, unfortunately, I don't have the original miniseries. I thought I bought that when it came out, but I did not. So not only do I not own it, but I never read it. So that's a future goal. But I did have some later stuff, and I read that. Had Sentry Fantastic Four, Sentry Spider-Man. There was a series of one-shots that followed the original mini that were all connected. I need to get the rest of these. But Paul Jenkins writing all this. Then there was an 8-issue series, miniseries. Paul Jenkins and John Romita Jr. did. I read issue 1 back when it came out. So I read issue 2, 3, 4, and that's as far as I got in April. But just getting some Sentry in there. Then I read the current Weapon X-Men 2. And then I went back to the prior Weapon X-Men series, which was a totally different thing. And I read issue 1. This is a Christos Gage written series using different Wolverines from the multiverse to go after a different multiversal version of Onslaught. So, and what I loved about this comic, this is a 4-issue mini, I think. I think it was just 4. In the back, you get a whole page of footnotes. I love that stuff. I love footnotes. I love directing you and referring you back to past stories. This is where this came from. This is where that character came from. Love that stuff. It's so helpful. It's so wonderful. And I have an English degree, so I just love that stuff in general. But anyway, read that. Daredevil Unleash Hell number 3. And then the last thing I read in the month of April, I finished The Essential Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4. I've been slowly working my way through this. Actually, not so slowly, but I've been working my way through this and got through it. And so here's an example of, I don't own all of these issues. In fact, in the range of this collection, I don't know if I own more than maybe 1 or 2 issues. I don't know. But this is a great example of where, okay, I own this, but if I have my tablet with me, I can read this on Marvel Unlimited on the app because I own this. And it's a nice bonus that the app is in color, like these were originally, but they're not in here. But yeah, so I finished Essential Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4. And yes, I've read the first 3. So that's it. That's all the comics I read, all 166 comics I read for the month of April 2025. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Until then, enjoy your comics.